Hey, a quick note before we start. Year end is here, which means it's time for my annual donation request spiel. If this podcast has been valuable to you, please visit exploreifs.com/donate. Your support keeps this work going and helps me provide coaching and resources to people who couldn't access it otherwise. And can't donate? No problem. Leave a review instead to help others find this content. All right, let's get into this week's episode. Welcome back to IFS Meditations and Insights. I'm Tim Fortescue, your guide on this journey toward wholeness through the lens of internal family systems. Together, we're creating a sacred space to explore, accept, and love all parts of ourselves. As we do this work, we open ourselves to experiencing divine love and living more authentically. Let's begin. Every week, I sit with people whose lives are quietly transforming. They're learning to listen, not to me, but to the voices within themselves. A tired protector loosens its grip. A critic softens its tone. A long-ignored part finally whispers, "I just wanted someone to notice me." These moments are tender, almost sacred. They remind me what healing really looks like. It's not dramatic, it's honest. But this week, that phrase, internal family systems, IFS, has been showing up in headlines instead of healing stories. There's an article circulating from The Cut, New York Magazine's lifestyle and fashion website, called "The Therapy That Can Break You." And it stirred up a lot of emotion, a lot of confusion, and for some people, real pain. Maybe you've read it. Maybe this is the first you're hearing about it. Either way, this episode is for you, because what I want to talk about today isn't just IFS. It's about how we hold space for truth when things get complicated, how we bring compassion to complexity, how we respond when something we value is being questioned. So today I want to talk about it, not to defend or to debate, but to ground, to make space for what's true, to bring compassion to what's complex, and to remember what this work is really about. Let's start with what the article actually gets right. It tells painful stories, people who went into treatment vulnerable and came out more fragmented, more hurt. It raises serious concerns about power, about boundaries, and about what happens when therapists, practitioners move too fast with deep trauma work. And those concerns matter. They really do. Because IFS, like any powerful tool or approach, can absolutely be misused when it's handled without pacing, without care, without humility. The problem isn't the model itself. It's what happens when self-energy isn't actually leading. When therapists or practitioners push too hard, when they interpret someone's parts for them, when they assume authority over a person's inner world. That's not IFS. That's coercion, dressed up in IFS language. So yes, the article raises important issues, real issues that the IFS community needs to keep addressing, but it's not the whole story. Let's come back to the heart of the model. At its core, IFS is about relationship. about how we relate to what's happening inside us. When Dick Schwartz developed IFS, he wasn't chasing theory or building a following. He was simply listening, really listening to people describe their inner worlds, the voices, the feelings, the conflicting impulses they experienced. And he began to notice a pattern. These weren't just symptoms to eliminate. They were parts, inner personalities, each one trying in their own way to protect the person, to keep them safe. IFS didn't invent that truth. It just gave us language for it. And the goal was never to bring confusion with this talk of multiplicity. It was to bring integration and clarity, to help people return home to themselves, to that steady, compassionate presence that we call the self in IFS. That's why we say there are no bad parts, not because every behavior is okay, but because beneath every strategy, every defense, there's an intention to keep us safe. Even the harshest critic, even the most destructive behavior, underneath there's a part that's trying to protect us. When practiced well, IFS doesn't fragment people. It helps them return home to themselves. Now let's talk about what really needs our care and attention. Deep inner work is sacred territory. When someone opens the door to their internal world, that space deserves reverence and pacing. No one should ever be told what their memories mean. No one should be pressured to believe something they don't sense is true. The person, the client, the seeker, they are the expert of their own system, always. In true IFS, the practitioner doesn't lead the story. They don't interpret it. They hold space for it to unfold. So yes, we absolutely need strong ethics. We need clearer research. We need continued accountability. And the IFS Institute has acknowledged this in their response to the article. That conversation is happening, and it needs to keep happening. But while all of that is being discussed and worked through, I keep coming back to what I see every single week in real time. And what happens in my life every single week in my own therapy. Because here's what I get to witness. Every week I meet people who are healing. Every week I'm healing. Someone says, my anxious planner finally trusts me. Someone's inner critic softens after years and years of tension. Someone realizes their anger isn't dangerous, it's protective. I see parents who yell less because they've befriended the parts that used to explode. I've seen marriages that start to repair because each partner can say, that's a part of me reacting, not all of me. I get messages from people who find the podcast, who find the meditations, who join the Faithfully Growing community and say things like, I finally feel like I can breathe again. I'm learning to listen to myself instead of trying to control everything. I'm remembering who I am underneath all the noise. Those stories rarely make headlines, but they're happening every day on a multiple level, speaking of multiplicity. hundreds of them, likely thousands of them. And they remind me this model, when it's practiced with humility and care, isn't about control. It's about connection. It's about coming home to yourself and myself. And since we're being honest and clearing the air, let's talk about another question that often floats around. Is IFS a cult? I understand where that question comes from. I really do. Especially for those of you who've known religious trauma or spiritual manipulation. When something grows quickly and people are passionate about it, it can look suspicious from the outside. Add trainings and conferences and online excitement, and it's easy to wonder if it's gone too far. But here's the truth. IFS doesn't revolve around a personality. Dick Schwartz, the founder, isn't a guru. He's not a charismatic leader demanding loyalty or devotion. When I've seen him, he seems like a thoughtful, sometimes reserved academic who stumbled into something profoundly human and then spent his career helping people access it in themselves. He's not looking for followers. He's encouraging people to lead themselves. IFS isn't a belief system. There's no creed to repeat, no loyalty oath to sign, no hierarchy to climb. In fact, the heart of the work is to decenter external authority and help you reconnect with your own inner authority, yourself. If anyone ever tells you what your parts mean or speaks for your system instead of helping you listen to it, that's not IFS. That's hierarchy. That's someone misusing the language of this model. True IFS doesn't create dependence. It restores agency. It's not about devotion to a leader or a method. It's about developing a relationship with yourself. So let me bring us back to where we started. At its best, IFS is a way of being, a practice of slowing down, of listening inwardly, of offering compassion where there used to be shame. If you've read the article and felt unsettled, I get it. That makes complete sense. Let that cautious part of you know it's welcome here. Curiosity and discernment, those are part of what it means to be self-led. And if you've been hurt by therapy, in any form, in any tradition, or if you've been hurt in spiritual settings or by religion for that matter, please know that wasn't your fault. Healing doesn't belong to a model or a movement. It doesn't belong to a certification or a community. It belongs to you. And so I'm so grateful that you're here. Grateful that you're part of this community. Thanks for staying curious. Thanks for engaging in the kind of honest reflection that keeps all of us in this work grounded and good. Models can be misused. Methods can cause harm. But presence still heals. And every time you pause and turn inward and listen and respond with compassion instead of criticism, that's the heart of IFS at work. Keep noticing your parts. Keep leading with self. I'll keep doing that right there with you. And remember, even in the middle of misunderstanding and controversy, there are no bad parts. Only parts longing to to be understood. That wraps up another episode of IFS Meditations and Insights. If you found value in today's session, please follow, subscribe, and share with others who might benefit. Your positive review helps more people discover this healing work. For more IFS meditations and resources, and to join the faithfully growing community, visit exploreifs.com. Until next time, be gentle with yourself.